I'd never seen before. As it closed behind us, Mrs. Roseplucker herself emerged from the gloom. From the parlour, I could hear crying and chattering, and behind this, a muffled lowing sound, like the sound of an imprisoned bull.
"My God, Mr. Flockhart, Mr. Quartermain," the woman said, though I could hardly hear her above the noise. "What evil times have come to this house tonight?"
She raised her candle in a theatrical gesture, peering at us through its dim glow. Her face was still daubed with the alum and arsenic mixture she favoured, though the vast horseware wig she wore in the daytime had been replaced by a mobcap of stained linen. Its lace was torn in parts, the ties that hung down on either side of her face, frayed and broken, dangling greasily like the tails of mice. Her nightdress was grey and billowing, her shawl ragged and mothed. A more hideous apparition I hoped never to see. "What is it, madam?" I said. I looked past her. Through the open door of the parlour, I could see Annie, her face streaked with tears, her arm around one of the other girls, who was wrapped in a blanket. "What reason can you possibly have for summoning us at this hour?" She put her finger to her lips. I could not think why, as the house was in uproar, but something was wrong. Will sensed it too, and I saw him looking about. "Where's Mr. Jobber?" he said. Mrs. Roseplucker's doorman was usually crammed into a cubbyhole beside the stairs. His role was to police the premises, ejecting those who stayed too long or presumed too much. Now, his cubbyhole was empty. Mrs. Roseplucker's chin quivered. She turned and vanished into the darkness.
"This way,"
she said, over her shoulder. I could smell blood even before I opened the door. That unforgettable metallic tang, visceral and elemental. It is a smell that we know, in our hearts, to be wrong. No wonder the animals of Smithfield become so afraid as they near the slaughterhouse. As a medical man, you'd think I'd be used to it, but I am not. And besides, even if I was, there was nothing that could have prepared me for what we saw next. Beside me, Will fumbled in his pocket for his salts. I was tempted to ask him for a quick sniff of them myself, for the sight that met us as we pushed the door open would have made a butcher blanch. I strode to the window and pulled open the curtains. Thick drapes of calico dyed a rich arsenic green, but blotched and stained from years of being pulled open and closed by the greasy hands of maids and doxies. The room was warm, the coals in the grate still smouldering, so that the place was filled with a visceral fug. It was like standing inside a giant organism, and yet beneath the stink there was something else, something fetid and rotten. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but before I could place it, Will clapped his handkerchief to his face. The silk, impregnated with his favourite scents from my apothecary, lavender, rose, lemon geranium, filled the room with the smell of a countryside summer, fleeting and delicious and all too brief. I gave in and pulled out my own handkerchief, holding it to my nose, as if I was sniffing at a huge white rose. On the bed, covered in a bloody sheet, was a body. I flung the sheet back. A man, perhaps some 35 years old, lay on his back. His eyes were closed, his face was twisted into a terrible grin, and his throat had been torn out. "Who is he?" I asked.
"Don't know,"
Mrs. Roseplucker replied.
"We don't ask. What use is a name in a house like this?"
I nodded, staring down at the corpse.
"Well,"
she said,
"can you help or not?"
She considered me a friend, though as I knew her to be a wily old slattern, I was cautious about returning the compliment. "My dear lady," said Will before I could reply, "the fellow is dead. There is little that will help him now." The woman glowered.
"I don't care two jots about him."
I stepped close, leaning over that terrible, grinning face.